All right. So this episode is going to be more for me. I just kind of want to draw some things out, write some things down, and see if it takes me anywhere. Um, okay, so let's just go ahead and get into it while it's still kind of fresh in my mind. I'll go ahead and do it in Nathy's Dreams. So this weekend, I'm going to do this guy and this guy. I was going to do it on Wednesday, but I just wasn't feeling up to it. But I think I'm starting to figure out how to stabilize my feelings in the morning. So, all right. So, first, I want to show kind of my way of thinking. So, right now, we're on a timeline like this. And this was a long time ago. And then, technically, because the galaxy is moving, you could say in a galaxy far, far away, but I won't do that. But long, long time ago. Um, and then this one will be a long, long time forward. And then me, let's say this right here. Actually, let's do a different color. Let's do favorite color is purple. Purple's high energy. And I say that not because I'm a weirdo, but like ultraviolet light from the sun is high, is like greater than like red light and blue light and all that good stuff. So purple is high energy. This is my birth. Sorry. When I say happy birthday to people, I actually say birthday with an F. I think it's hilarious. It looks cute. So, but anywho, but my existence doesn't start here. So let's see. My existence doesn't. Ah, 'cause I am not truly an independent organism. I came from someone else. So, another high energy event. And I'll do two high energy events, one here and one here. And that's my parents' birth. Parents' birth. So my parents were born there. Oh, but wait, they're not independent beings either. And so there's this. So let's just say this is my very first progenitor. So my very first ancestor. But it doesn't stop there. Because before my ancestors, other things existed. Now, what existed exactly, we don't know. I don't know. But depending on different theories, like one theory is evolution, I'm going to do it a different color. Let's do red. Red's very low energy. Evolution. Big Bang. God. Etc. Something began the universe. And eventually, events evolved such that here I am. But does that mean that we came from other organisms? I don't know. I've never seen one organism change into another organism. I've seen metamorphosis. Metamorphosis isn't a different organism, though. Metamorphosis required that initial organism to evolve. So, who knows? But, um, but to continue off of this, let's actually do purple. So, then my life is a continuum. And let's actually hold on. I should probably delete a little bit of that. Yeah. Okay, let's organize this. So the first bit is going to be this early infancy, early toddlerhood. Let's go ahead and change that. Infancy. And basically their learning potential is maximized. So I went from not really being able to do much besides have to have a little bit of booby for breakfast and lunch and dinner, and then crying all the time. Oh, I guess I had a hernia when I was a baby, so there was that too. But anywho, max learning potential. This is when there are the only limitations for the baby, for that newborn, is, well, one, the parents. How much are they involving themselves in the life? And I think my mom did a good job. And then I guess there's just the repetitive nature to basically let the baby and the toddler experiment with things. Obviously, not to get hurt too bad or anything like that, but a little bit of pain here or there, a little bit of like things not working the right way could go a long way. Because when everything goes right, that becomes an expectation, that becomes an entitlement. And I know there were certain aspects that I treated my mom with where I just expected things of her. Now the problem is at some point in childhood, my curiosity didn't start to go away, but my desire to do the school way of doing things just didn't really make sense to me. And so I couldn't immerse myself. So this will be like childhood to early teenhood. And basically there, I start to lock on into things. Various ideologies. So some things I got from my parents, some things I got from other family members, some things I got from friends. But the idea is here is when socializing is very important. even that early childhood, the infancy and stuff, socializing can be a good thing, but until language is the rudimentary of the language is learned, um, really it's just kind of understanding how the body works and stuff. Like there are people today, like there are people in their that are old age who can't even throw a baseball, who can't even like catch a basketball, who can't even like dribble with a soccer ball. Um, my uncle smashed his own face with a tennis racket once. Like that's the kind of thing that's crazy. There's no coordination, and so when that in those baby days, coordination is very important. Learning multiple languages, maybe learning an instrument, so on. Um, but for that childhood to early teenage years, I remember going from being very weird to very outgoing. Um, and I just kind of involved myself with everybody. And I think that's a good thing because by paying attention to people, you can learn a lot of things about yourself. And so I learned a lot about myself trying to mimic other people. Like I went through a little bit of a do rag and butterfly knife phase for like a year. Um, Long hair, dyed my hair. I did all sorts of stuff, just kind of playing around. But a lot of the things that I was doing was shallow, even though I didn't really understand that. But I had good mentors who invested in me. Um, they told me that I had potential. Uh, I still remember the day I tried out for football my freshman year, or before my freshman year, tried out for a receiver, and I could catch, but they were like, "No, we're not going to have you do that. We're going to have you play lineman." I remember being so pissed because I wanted touchdowns, I wanted to be on TV, I wanted glory and all that stuff. But then I played offensive line. I stuck with it, and it ended up being one of the funnest things I ever did. And it was a really good outlet. It really helped me vent those adolescent anger bouts and stuff. So, yeah, those are good times. But the idea is to develop other skills. So that way, when you turn 18, or I guess whatever society, doesn't matter, our society is workplace at 18. But there are other opportunities. And with the internet and with the digitization of a lot of things, it's become a lot easier to freelance. And so that's why I want to get back into tutoring. But because I'm so unfamiliar with doing things like that on my own, um, it's just taken me time getting comfortable. But I go by David Goggins' rule, but in a more intuitive way. I don't really consider it the 40%, but David Goggins, badass dude, 40% rule. The idea is your comfort zone will generally be around 40 to 50%. And so the idea is when you're comfortable, that's when you should be thinking, what can I do to push myself beyond the 40%? What can I do a little bit more so that way I can bump up my 40%? Because that's what humans are. Humans are super freaking adaptable, especially when they know it. Like, I think that's the issue is things are taught so disorganized. Everything's been split up into specific things. You can only use this language for this specific skill. They're this specific school of thought. And it's like, but all of those schools of thought are multidisciplinary, every single one of them. No one of them goes by itself. Like chemistry doesn't matter if there are no people to observe the chemicals. Physics doesn't matter if there are no people to observe the physics. Psychology doesn't matter if there are no minds to measure and to analyze. So, but because there are those things, it's obvious that there's bound to be issues because, especially with the society we grow up in, we'll never come out from the social rules at 100% of our full potential. However, we can learn from those things. We can learn from every institution, good and bad. Even the worst possible things, even Hitler's writing, Mein Kampf, you could ban the heck out of that, and it would still be a good read because you'll learn something from it. What was this guy thinking? It's hard to imagine what a maniac is thinking if you don't read anything that he wrote. So a lot of the shooters, they have manifestos. Um, Even though it doesn't mean reading their thing doesn't justify what they did, but because they did it, that means someone's mind thought about these things. And because there's so many people, there's a good probability someone else is thinking about these things. And if you look at statistics, there are people thinking about those things because it happens in multiple places. So reading about it, while yes, it may damage our psyche in a little bit in the short term, in the long term, once we've incorporated that into ourselves, once we understand what's possible, we can take measures to prevent it. You don't prevent like murder by passing a law. You prevent murder by instilling the sense that murder is wrong into people, into as many people as possible, not through fear, but through understanding. Because when it's through fear, it's never explained in the right way. It's always explained in a way where it's taboo to even talk about. And then the few people who get curious about it sometimes go into a rabbit hole, and then it fucks them up. And then there's no one to talk about it because it's been taboo. It's a taboo subject. Or if they do talk about it to someone professional, that professional is obligated to speak to law enforcement. And even if it's not an intended like thing that's on your mind, if it's just something that you want to understand better. But anywho, long story short, these two phases are the most important. Actually, the phase before birth too, as well, conception as well is very important. Because obviously, without the conception, I'll go ahead and throw that on here. Boop, 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 boop. And essentially, what conception is all of the choices that have been made before up until that specific choice. I did not exist. I was just a potential idea, and then I came to be because intercourse. So, anywho, um, next phase is this phase, and most people will go on the rest of their lives in that phase, from my experience, where there's minimal learning, minimal new things. The only new thing really is that something different is happening on the next day, or like it's just a different date and time. Basically, it's just a different number on a calendar. And I know there was a lot of studies that we were told about growing up that at around 25 years old, the brain stops developing. But because of the trauma that I went through, and because I decided to solve it, to resolve my trauma, and to move forward with my life, I learned that the brain actually doesn't stop developing at 25. And in fact, I'm making new neuron connections all the time. And how do I know that? Because I'm able to do things I wasn't able to do a couple years ago. Um, so I've lost 140 pounds. I don't have sleep apnea anymore, so no more CPAP machine. I don't have hypertension caused by my kidneys anymore. Still have kidney failure, but I think they're getting better. And one of my proofs is that the same dialysis solutions that I was using before is pulling off more fluid than it used to. And so that means my body is uh, allowing the dialysis to work better than a couple years ago. So Um, but for about 15 years, I call my dark ages. And then the last few years has been the Renaissance. And I'm still in the Renaissance today. And then the goal is actualization, where actualization is I turn my thoughts into reality. And now that doesn't mean like I can lift people up and I can just do things with my mind. I'm saying like I think about it first, figure out how to do it, get all the things that I need to do it, get any people I need to do it, and then I do it. So that's what I'm kind of experimenting with right now. I am experimenting with what my final phase should be. But when I say final phase, I don't mean like a finite end game situation where like in World of Warcraft you get all your top level gear and now you have to wait for the next expansion before you can get something better. Or uh, like Diablo, same thing. Um, or yeah, because like in Diablo, you can keep building things up. Or like I guess in uh, Oblivion, there was the enchantment hat, or not hack, but glitch, where you could take, I forget what spell it was, but it was like a spell and an alchemy, and you would mix them together and then make things, and then you would equip those things to make better potions, and then you'd make better potions to make better things, and then your guy would just be ridiculous. That could actually be Skyrim. I don't remember. It's one of the two. Could be both. Um, but the idea is that my end goal will be a continuous end goal where I don't stop growing. But the goal is to keep growing forever, for as long as I can, for as long as I'm willing, and as long as the world is willing to let me. Because we all know sometimes asteroids come in, who knows. But anyhow, I have experienced perpetual growth, very limited perpetual growth, but perpetual growth for the last 2 years. And I know once I'm in my tip top shape, I will be able to do this all day, every day for days at a time without sleep. I used to do stuff like that through just my will. But if I can make it a habit instead now, that'd be pretty sweet. So, and so basically, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, trying to fill in as many gaps as I can. I don't need every single ounce of information in order to fill enough of the gaps. I am capable of moving up and down between levels of thought, like levels of reality, essentially, like different size scales and different physical phenomena and all that stuff. But what I want to do is sort of break some things down in a very abstract way, even if I don't really quite have a good way of explaining it yet. I would like to just break it down because it's just in my mind right now. And I think just by writing it, that helps establish it a little bit better in reality for me. So, all right. So who am I? Well, based on biblical reading, I hmm, how do I want to do this? I don't want to word it incorrectly. Well, if the Bible is right, correct. I am one of many of one. What does that mean? Well, in math, that would be like saying I am 1 over x um, is a subset of 1. Call this like capital 1. No. Lowercase 1. And what do I mean by that? This is discrete. Oops. Yeah. This whole thing is not discrete. It's everything possible. I don't know if I have a better way of describing that yet, but that to me makes sense. That's how I see it. Because that's the way I understand the numbers. That's the way I understand those systems. This is like uh, in one of the I think in one of the algebra sections I talked about the sets, and so you have the set of all real numbers, and you have in that the set of rational numbers, and then within that and then there's the irrational numbers. I'll put a little I there. So irrational, rational, real. So these are fractions. So integers is next. So that's positive and negative numbers. And then you have the counting numbers. Oh, that's complex. Sorry. Okay, actually, here we go. This is better. Actually, I'm going to hold off on that and hold off and put in complex in there for now. Because, oops. I don't know what the counting numbers is, but I'll just call it K. It's counting. And that's 0 and positive. And then you have the natural numbers. Oh, no, that's not the natural number. And that's the counting. So this is basically like us at a certain point. And then at some point, some people are shifted into a higher way of thinking. And that leads to the complex numbers. So that is the let's say the Cartesian, 3D numbers, plus extra. So if I were to draw like a graph, there's the axes, it would be like a shift of the whole graph into a whole nother plane of existence. Its orientation can change. Its orientation can stay the same. There are more sets that I can get into, but it's like going from the real, which makes the most sense to most of us, using decimals and fractions and all the things that we learned about in school, and then moving up one step higher into the complex frame of thinking, which is basically 4 dimensions. You have the 3 real dimensions, and then you have the complex dimension, or complex dimensions, I guess. You can go further than 4, but that's just what I was just thinking of. So, but that's like a mathematical way of saying it. So I relate a lot of those ideas together. So instead of looking at the Bible, because the Bible itself might not have all of the like precise answers that are solved by like some of the science that's been used in the past, but using my science understanding and using the assumption that the Bible is true, that's how I would make sense of it. So I don't look at things in just one perspective. I look at things at least, I can think of at least 4 minimum perspectives for every idea. Where truth leads to truth, truth leads to falseness, false leads to falseness, and false leads to truthness. So, belief plus fact now, regardless of the human perception, true things are true regardless. However, humans don't always believe things are true. Sometimes humans believe, sometimes, especially me, have believed the wrong thing. And so these are the 4 examples that I can say I've experienced where I believe something is true and it turned out to be true, so it was true. Okay, here we go. Maybe I can do it like this. Belief plus I'll call it natural truth. It's true regardless of me. Okay? So belief is true plus natural truth is true. Then that's just the natural outcome. It's true. I got 2 perspectives. I got my perspective and I got nature's perspective. True belief plus false in terms of the natural truth, then it's false. Let's call it reality. And then, if I believe it's false and the natural truth is true, reality is true, and then if the belief is false and the natural truth is false, then that is also false. That's the way I see that. And so because I know those possibilities exist because of belief, even though reality says that it aligns with natural truth, my beliefs don't have to conform with natural reality, natural truth. So I can be wrong. You can be wrong. Everyone can be wrong. Literally every single human being on the planet at once about any one thing could be wrong. Now I wonder if there is anything that every single human is wrong about. And I think it can be described because I've demonstrated what it's like to be wrong a lot. Even though I was right about a lot of things. That was why life was so confusing for me. That's why things were so ambiguous. Because I was right about all the things that I was doing professionally. And so I assumed that I was correct about everything that I was doing, or that I even the things I wasn't doing, things that were completely that seemed unrelated. But so for me, who I am, I shall do it in purple because it's high energy and I'm very confident with this. I am me. I don't need to explain any further because I can demonstrate it. And the demonstration that I've shown so far with over 150 videos of just me reading so far is I am adapting to natural reality. Or, no. No, because adapting sounds like it's not a choice. I'm going to say choosing to conform natural reality and God. Because my simple model, let's do it in red, is me plus not me is less than or equal to actually, no, not equal to, never equal to, is less than God. So what does that look like? So you got the body and the whole freaking universe. And so, what am I? Me is less than my experiences, offspring, experiences, familial experiences, And where experience is less than sensory information. There will always be things that are happening that cannot be perceived by the senses, or they're sensed but they're not expressed. It leads to no change in expression of the body, and so there's no detection of the sense. All right. Oh, but I could rewrite some of this stuff. Um, now I won't get you far into that. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that God is indescribable, but we or I am also indescribable. Or I could expand on that and say, God, should we write it down here? God is actually, I'm going to do this higher energy because this makes more sense to me. God is shoot. I was going to expand that. Here we go. Here we go. Is incompletely describable. Dang it, hold on. Oh, that's actually really amazing. I'm so glad that I started writing this down. Is in AKA an open set. Even though to him he's closed, to us he's open. So to me, to me. But closed to himself. Now, I'm not saying this is the truth, but I am saying this is what makes the most sense to me. This is my opinion. So it's my. Okay. What does that mean? This means by exploring with my senses and I learn to comprehend the consequences of the sensory information, I learn more about God. And then also, let's do green. Actually, let's do blue. Also, I am indescribable based on the choice I have made. But actually, hold on. Let's do it in a different color. Let's do green. No. I am but as I showed up here, because I am a result of experiences both in my control and out of my control, I now will always be less than my future self. So I can also rewrite this in a higher energy color. I am also, I'm going to use the same wording, incompletely. However, within various limitations. So if you ever take math, you'll learn about the term, or you'll learn about infinities. And there are different kinds of infinities. So, like if I had let's just do 3 different infinities. Three number line, or yeah, I'll do number line 1, number line 2, and number line 3. Got there, 0, 0, 0. This will be the lowest infinity. So it's the infinity of this is basically the set of the integers. So this is integers. So it's basically like a continuum of ones. And then I can go a little bit higher energy. Let's do blue. Let's do the same markings. But let's do so now I've done this is like the integers, or you could call this like maybe like what, base 2 rationals? I'm not sure how to write that, but it's like base 2, not base 2, sorry. I don't know how I would say that actually. But basically, it's all the half integers. But that's another set of infinity. However, there's 2. Oops. There's 2 for every 1. See? That's a distance of. So, oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me cover that. There we go. That's what I meant. So it took 4 ticks equals 2. 2 ticks equals 2. That should go to 0. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Anyhow, but you can see it's a different scale, basically. It's like zooming in. That's actually what it is. It is like zooming. It's exactly like zooming in. And then for the third one, I can do oh, dang it, I keep erasing. That there is no scale. Now, what does that mean? That's a good question. But what I'm trying to say here is that God, the idea of God, is infinity, but it's like a base infinity. It is the infinity. Oops, let's do purple. Where I am a lower energy infinity. There are certain limitations that I've accepted. And there are certain limitations that were accepted for me. So, like my atomic structure, I don't choose that. I don't decide where the atoms go. But the cells in my body obviously know what to do with them because they're able to utilize them. So, and that's why it's infinity, because it's in a way, because I exist in many different scales. Some out of my control, some within my control. So, what this means is, I never have to stop growing. The infinity I was yesterday is smaller, even if it's slightly, than the infinity I am today. And with calculus, we have the concept of the integral. Do a simple one, x dx. This dx represents infinitesimal change. So it's so small that I cannot measure it, but I know it's happening. And with a little bit of consciousness and conscious awareness, I can make decisions that aligns me with that mentality, with that concept. So, but I can keep growing in accordance to whatever the potential capacity I have is. Right now, I am not running anywhere close to my full capacity. I know that. One, because my kidneys are failed. If I was running at full capacity, my kidneys would be working fine. So, one way, or the way, and this I'm writing purple, actually I'll do black because it's important. The method I prefer for growth is the read, speak combination. Reading, like I do, requires focus, eyes, and focused and strong vocal cords. So I read a lot and I talk a lot. Practice with conscious effort leads to improvement. That's my own experience. I can't speak for everybody. But everything that I've ever put my mind to and my body to, I have gotten better at it every time. So, now, my problem. Immersion. Believing what I'm doing is something I need to be doing. How do you do that with things like video games, TV, hanging out with friends, spending extra money on something that you probably shouldn't eat, so on and so forth? What should I do? Solution? Game. Design a baseline schedule based on quantity and quality of achievement, uh, work without resorting to um, day time. I do not want to tell myself at this time on the clock, on this specific day, I am going to do this because I hate doing that. I prefer to just do things as I choose to do them because it's more natural and it makes more sense. So, let's see. I'm going to write something down real quick. No, I don't need that. All right, so where am I going with this now? So, setting up a game. Okay, so self. No, there's no. So, if I break this down, let's take those out. Oh, you know what? Okay, let's do this. Self, everyone else. So my goal, many body, many body problem. No, I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's too far. Sorry, I'm trying to think right now. Try to get the right thing out. Oh, that was it actually. So the solution is the game, but I'm still figuring that out. But basically, what I was saying here is that the purpose of all of this right now is that I want to improve, and that by believing in this statement that I am incompletely describable. When I say that, it tells me that as I continue experiencing, I will continue to describe myself and to describe the stuff around me through myself. And that tells me that I am able to do this, that I'm able to keep growing, that I'm convinced that I don't have to keep holding myself back, that I was holding myself back for the longest time because I was just doing the same things over and over again every day and nothing got better. So, but other things were changing around me. And so then I just hoped that things would change in a certain way. I could imagine ways that things would change where things would get better for me, but I didn't realize that I could also change myself. And so that's the main purpose behind this. So I need certain aspects. Now, what do I need to change now? I guess, okay, that's the question I should be asking. What do I need to change now? One, consistency. I need to be more consistent with just the way I do things. And the hardest part has just been getting off of a 24-hour schedule and then just doing things as I choose to do them. It's a very different lifestyle, but it's much more fun. And how will I do that? Let's go on to the next page. Close. Oops. Oops. Add a drawing. No. No. Dang it. Add a drawing. One. Consistency. Adapting to the current situation before trying to move forward again. How will I do that? One, meals. Eat same things for multiple days at a time. And my specific example will be, so I'm cutting bread out of my diet. So I'm going to do fruit plus peanut butter for breakfast. Then I'm thinking nut slash protein bar for lunch with yogurt. We'll do plain yogurt with fruit with and vegetables. Gotta eat more vegetables. And then third, home cooked meal. I keep hearing something. What is that? Yeah, I don't know. No? Oh, it could be the cycler, maybe. Sometimes it makes sounds, but I don't know. Home cooked meal. So, and then those meals, I'm going to do black beans, quinoa. The reason I chose quinoa isn't because I'm a health freak. It's because it's got a higher protein uh, to carb ratio from what I looked at the labels. But I also don't want to keep eating rice. I want to try something new. So black beans, quinoa, mixed veggies, sardines, garlic. Oh, I bought that. And then um, I think really that should be good for now. I don't eat a whole lot. Just eat enough to get me going. Enough protein. Yeah, let's try that for now. And then if I need anything else, I'll do the frozen Walla meals. So that's my backup. So that's how I'm going to be more consistent with the meals. And then with Instacart, from now on, since I usually waste my mornings anyway, morning minimum $80. That's for gas, food, bills. And then in the afternoon, I can make it more of a choice, or just if I keep going and keep going. But I need to make a minimum $80 in the morning. So before noon. And to be fair, 3 to 4 count. Actually, 4 count. We'll call it 4 count. I need to do 4 every morning. So even if they're little ones, I can do the little ones, whatever. If I only make like $40, fucking so be it. But get me started. So, and then that's going to be consistent for money making. So $80 a day, 28 days. $2,240. It's not bad. So yeah, make that work. Okay. And then for consistency, I need to do workouts every reading and every Instacart. So what does that mean? So since I'm beginner, simple motions. And I'll worry about that one later. And then, let's see. Meals and then readings. Minimum 3 readings per day. Writings. Minimum of 1 hour writing per day. I don't really have a way to quantify like a count or anything yet. So my goal will be 1 hour a day, and that's going to include homework, includes problems. Okay. So my life will be meals, work, so Instacart, working out, which is included with my readings and my Instacart. I got Instacart, which is just like motion and all that stuff. We got readings, and then we got writings. So writings are going to include essays and problems and all sorts of stuff. But all right, I think that's good for consistency, and that's what I'm going to work on. That's my main focus right now. So I'm not going to worry about anything else. So I want to be consistent. That is the number one thing. So meals, reading, writings, Instacart, and workouts. So red Instacart or purple Instacart, and that leads to And then so there's the collection. So basically what this says is, actually I'll write that in black. So meals. So because I eat meals and because I work out, actually I'll do this. This will look better. Here. I think that's good. Meals leads to working out and Instacart and reading and writing. I like that. Where am I going with that? Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. That's my goal. Consistency. All right. Is there anything else? No, I think that's it. Go ahead and call that good. Just random thoughts.